Welcome to the Raging Takes podcast with your hosts, Brian Dixon, Kai Zabo, and Dylan Peters.
What's up, you turkeys? And welcome back to episode 118 of the Raging Takes podcast. I'm your host, Kai the Commissioner Zabo, joined today with my fellow co-host, Dylan Peters. Today's date is October 29th, 2024. What's going on, Dylan?
Nothing much, man. I'm just still reeling from just a horrific weekend of football, fantasy football. Life's going good, though. But
that's good.
Football is trying to bring me down, and I'm not going to let it.
It always will.
It was only week 8, right, Kai?
Yeah, only week 8. Yeah.
It was only week 8. Yeah.
You know, it's not like a game 1 of the World Series, right, Brian?
Or game 4.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, Brian will not be joining us on tonight's episode. As we may have alluded to, the Yankees are fighting for their lives in an important game 4 in the World Series. So Brian could not be at his full focus for this episode, and you know we would not ask him to do it anyways with such dire situations.
It's very dire over there.
Yeah. But anyways, we got our normal episode today for our Tuesday schedule. You know, week 8 review, NFL news, raging question of the day, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, let's get to the raging question of the day. So Dylan, I want to ask you, do you have a best fit for a trade before the deadline? The deadline, by the way, is November 5th.
I'm still going to stick with DK Metcalf, dude. I don't see the Seahawks being necessarily as competitive. Like, they kind of have to make a choice if they want to stick with Geno and DK, and like they have a new coaching staff and all that kind of stuff in-house. And I feel like DK could get you probably the biggest return on any receiver traded so far because of his age and skills and everything he does. Other than that, dude, it's really hard because there's been so many injuries in the NFL so far that there's a lot of teams that are super thin at receiver. And also that might be a double-edged sword because some teams might be a little gun shy to try to give up a player, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. There's dudes just going left and right and everywhere. There's no way to predict it whatsoever. So
yeah. So I was thinking for myself, I mean, obviously the Bucs need a wide receiver. I mean, you kind of said DK Metcalf. I mean, would that even be possible?
I mean, I don't think they'd be willing to give up such whatever the Seahawks might want for him because Mike Evans is coming back at some point, you know. And they didn't look too terrible versus Atlanta. So maybe they could weather the storm, you know. Maybe they trust their young guys. I don't know who else.
I was going to ask you anyways. I was going to ask you who else would you think DK could go to? I mean, since you said DK, you didn't really name a team.
I could see him going to a team like I always want to say like the Chiefs, but they got their guy. Yeah. You know, the Ravens got their guy finally. I could see a team like the Steelers wanting to make a move for a receiver because I mean, outside of George Pickens, it's slim pickings.
I mean, Calvin Austin kind of just emerged. I mean, we'll get to that, but
yeah, I mean, but he doesn't have the track record or the playmaking ability of a DK Metcalf.
Of course.
Completely break open a game, and that's a Russell Wilson reunion with DK.
Oh yeah, true.
As well,
yeah.
So they've
I didn't even think about
together,
that.
You know, the Steelers do need that extra firepower, I believe, to get over the hump in the AFC. Like they look really good, but I don't think they necessarily have what it takes to take on a top AFC competitor like the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC. So we'll just have to see what happens on that.
Okay. So you would say that DK is like your best like trade candidate on the market?
I would say so, man.
Okay.
I would definitely say so. I mean, it depends on the Seahawks and their belief in their team, but it can't be super high. I mean, they haven't played necessarily well. all
Yeah.
year.
I was going to say, I was just thinking about that too, because they're in a weird position. It's like they're competing for their division, even though I think that they personally have no business being there. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like they should sell a little bit, but I think that in their minds, they think that they have a chance, you know?
Mm-hmm. I would say is like, I don't know. There's a bunch of teams that just have these guys that could go to, I guess, more contending teams. And it'll be from the rebuilding teams as well. So
yeah,
that's one thing to look out for. A rebuilding team with a stud.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be a pretty juicy offseason when that happens. Or if mid-season even. I mean, if DK Metcalf happens right before the trade deadline, that'll break the internet for sure.
I would have definitely said Christian Kirk, barring him not getting gruesomely injured a couple days ago, because he was definitely a guy I thought could be traded here pretty soon, just because the Jags not low key, just very high key stink bad.
Yeah, and honestly, they might have like found their guy too. You know, it's just
yeah.
Hold on, sorry, there we go.
No, you're good.
Yeah, no, so yeah, the Christian Kirk was another good one too, of course, before the injury. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that name up too, because I always feel like he's kind of like he's starting to feel like the odd man out now in Jacksonville. So yeah, and I kind of just want him to get out of there because I still think he's pretty talented. He's got some gas left in the tank for sure. I think he could thrive on another team, so I like that one as well.
Yeah. Do you think the Texans could make a move for a receiver?
Oh, man, it's just I don't know about a DK, but a guy like Christian Kirk would have been perfect. I mean, honestly, another one I was even thinking about, like even for the Bucs. So I know he's not a great wide receiver, but I think he's definitely better than whatever the Bucs have right now. But Mike Williams could be a good fit. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not the greatest, but he's better than everyone that they have at the moment, I personally think. So I would say that's mine that I was thinking about before the episode.
I think Baker to Mike Williams would be nuts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the play styles mesh pretty well. You know, Mike Williams is a pretty good downfield guy, and Baker's a pretty good downfield passer. Yeah, it's a pretty good match in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it. So let's pan over to the NFL news. All right, so first up, the Panthers have traded Diontae Johnson and a 2025 sixth-round pick to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a 2025 fifth-round pick. Honestly, I love this fucking move. Like, this is amazing. Like, how long has it been since the Ravens have had a good wide receiver too?
I mean, they have one with Zay Flowers, you know?
Yeah, I guess so, right?
I mean, you couldn't find me two more similar receivers than Diontae Johnson and Zay Flowers. Very quick, sharp route runners with good hands. You know, like you're going to give basically Lamar Jackson two of the most wide open receivers I've ever seen. I know Diontae Johnson's not a superstar. He's not a crazy, but he is a target monster, and he has a knack of being just wide open. Yeah. So you're going to run the RPO with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry with two guys just wide open down the field, Mark Andrews everywhere. Like, the rich get richer, and it didn't cost them that much to do this.
No, it really didn't. Yeah, that's the other part that's shocking. Yeah, like, this is peanuts.
Yeah, this is a pick that the Baltimore Ravens are laughing at.
I'm laughing at it.
A fifth-round pick? Really?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is just like... The Panthers just keep shooting themselves in the foot, man. I mean, I feel like you could have got so much more for Diontae Johnson.
Yeah, I just don't know how those. I know he just got signed. Isn't this his first year with the Panthers?
Yeah, no, he hasn't even played a full season with them yet.
So he still has all this money that was tied up in the books, guaranteed money, like all this shit. Dude, they're probably still paying Diontae Johnson. They probably were like, oh, yeah, we'll pay a little bit of this. Just take them off our hands. We don't want the huge cap hit. Like, yeah, they stink, dude. The Panthers stink.
Yeah, bro. I don't know how much you're going to do with like a fifth round pick either. I mean,
Dude, you never know, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens just absolutely won this trade. I mean, this just fills such a huge need for them. I mean, we saw that game. Rashad Bateman had such a horrible drop in that game. And I was just like, I kind of think in their minds, they were thinking, oh, we're like, we need another guy. And Diontae Johnson, perfect. I love it.
I do too, and I think he's going to make a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially with the way that the Ravens are running the offense this week. I mean, it looked like they were trying to be a little bit more pass heavy than they should have been, and kind of bit them in the ass. I didn't really get it at all, but we'll get to that.
So my dynasty league that I was in, I had Diontae Johnson, and I have like a pretty star-studded like young receivers on my bench, and I have Lamar Jackson as my quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not in the dynasty league we're in, but I dropped Diontae Johnson preseason. And I could have had a stack now. That's fantasy football for you. Another reason why it hates me this week.
Yeah. All right. So next news item. So Stephon Diggs will miss the remainder of the season after suffering a torn ACL in the win versus the Colts. In 8 games played, Diggs had 47 receptions for 496 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, pretty tough here for the Texans, who, as you all know, is already without Nico Collins. I'm sure. What's the timeline on Nico Collins right now?
He's back after like 2 more weeks.
Okay, so at least that's in their favor. But, man, this stinks. So, I mean, Diggs was looking like a pretty good red zone option for them. He wasn't like the downfield guy, but he was like the one that you would throw to when you needed that first down, when you needed that crucial catch. And, yeah, I was watching this game. I saw the play happen, and immediately in my mind, I was like, oh, man, he tore his ACL. Like, you can just tell at this point, like we've seen so many happen now. It's just like I can just tell immediately when it's an ACL.
Yeah, it was a non-contact injury, and he went down really hard, and that's just really tough on the Texans, considering don't get me wrong, the Texans are still having a very strong season, and the Joe Mixon signing looks like the best signing in football and free agency right now because they're able to lean on him when these receivers are going down, and it's kind of just like, is this the time, that Tank Dell stands out? Is this the time Dalton Schultz takes over and says, oh, I'm not a scrub anymore, because that's what he's been thus far. Like, it's a revolving door at receiver, it seems, in Houston, and it's tough.
Yeah. So I would say like next guys up in the wide receiver room, obviously Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, and I guess even Robert Woods was still getting some run there. So, but who do you like the most out of those 3?
I got to say, just based off of pedigree, I would say I would keep my eye on John Mechie.
Yeah.
I think he's extremely fast. If he has any kind of chemistry with CJ Stroud at all, if he can build it, I think that dude could be like a fantasy league winner come time, just because, look at him. He's played for Alabama.
Yeah.
He has a good pedigree as a football player. He's just been stuck behind a bunch of studs over there.
He also was dealing with, was it cancer, I think, his first year? It was something like that. Yeah, like his rookie year, he didn't play at all. And then, he's kind of just had a bad shake of things since then. He's kind of just been buried on the depth chart. But no, I agree with you. I was kind of high on him coming out of college because, as you all know, I'm always on Alabama wide receivers. They always turn out to be great prospects. So, yeah, I do like that pick, but also Xavier Hutchinson to me is a little interesting too. From what I saw in preseason, I think he could have a role in this offense.
Definitely think so, and I don't see the Texans like changing their offense by any means. So some of these guys have to step up. So you can take a flyer on whichever one you think might pan out, and the chances are you might hit, because even with Nico Collins saying he's going to come back, like to be put on IR with a hamstring injury, that's pretty rough. That means it was really bad. So who knows the timetable of actually playing? Because once you activate him, you got 3 more weeks that he could practice without playing. So we don't really know the status of him for real until that time comes.
Yeah.
So I think one of these guys is definitely worth a flyer.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. And also it's a hamstring, and we know how tricky those can be as well. Yeah. So, all right, moving on. So Colts are benching Anthony Richardson in favor of Joe Flacco. Richardson was generating an NFL worst 44.4 completion percentage in 2024. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, actually, that was the lowest. He has the lowest completion percentage of any quarterback that registered a certain amount of pass. I saw the stat earlier. It's the worst pass completion percentage ever.
Man, how wrong were we about this guy?
Dude, I had him as my number 2 fantasy quarterback.
I remember.
And I thought it was a good.
No, it was. It was a little spicy, but I mean, I saw the vision. But
it's just, dude, when you go, what was it, 10 of 32? What was it, dude? It was really bad.
Yeah, it was 10. We'll get to that, but it was 10 of 32. Yeah, pretty bad.
That's just so bad. I don't know if you know math at all. That's lower than 44%.
Yeah.
That's like a 30-something percent pass completion percentage. And on an NFL team, dude, you're drafted in the first round. Of course you're going to get benched for Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And then
so the benching also comes after Richardson admitted to subbing out of the game on Sunday because he was tired. Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, he left the game for one play. Just looked like he was winded. Yeah. And honestly, Pat McAfee was giving him a lot of shit for it on his show.
I've never seen a quarterback tap out of a game because they're tired. Never.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I've seen, dude, and we've watched Vince Young. We've watched Michael Vick. We've watched Lamar Jackson. We've watched guys get just pummeled, smashed, crushed. I watched Jay Cutler get sacked 15 times in a game before. The dude never subbed out. You're the leader of that team. You're supposed to be the guy that is in there that is never going to come out because it's your team. And he just kind of gave it up, dude. That's what that is. I think that's the sole reason he was benched.
Yeah, it's honestly not a good look. And I kind of felt like that was going to have some effect, too, with this benching decision, because I remember they were interviewing the coach and he said that they were going to come to a decision this morning after reviewing everything. And I was like, you know what? I think they're going to look at Anthony Richardson quitting on him like that. And it's going to be like, yeah, that's it.
I would honestly be surprised if he plays again this year, barring injury.
Yeah, no, I mean,
don't think he plays another snap.
I don't think so either. I mean, especially if you think about Joe Flacco coming in, what if Joe Flacco just starts winning games, or at least the offense looks like it's moving? Joe Richardson's not coming back in.
And that's the thing, dude. Joe Flacco will start winning games.
Exactly.
A lot. I mean, I know they just lost this close game versus the Texans, but before that, they were very competitive. They were beating teams with Joe Flacco, and they can compete better with him.
Yeah. I think it's a good move, honestly. It's just at this point, it's like Richardson, hasn't been 100% healthy still. He's not learning from his mistakes. He just needs to take a break, compete in camp next year. I don't think he's even a guaranteed starter come next year. I think he's going to have to earn it again, honestly, at this point.
You think Joe Flacco will come back for another year, dude?
I'm not saying that Joe Flacco does. I'm just saying that whatever happens with the Colts, whether they draft another quarterback because Richardson might be a bust, or, they make Richardson compete for the job again next summer, I'm not sure. But I think he should just be shut down for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah. You can't trust him.
Yeah, you can't trust him, and he's not healthy. Stop throwing him out there. All right, last piece of NFL news. This just happened about an hour ago. Yeah, this was a last minute add to the notes, but the Vikings have acquired offensive tackle Cam Robinson from the Jaguars in exchange for draft compensation. Wasn't too exact on what that was, but we can assume it was probably some late round pick swap. But this is pretty big for the Vikings. I mean, Cam Robinson isn't as good as who he's replacing, but basically the Vikings lost their main starting tackle, Christian Darrisaw, season-ending injury. Not a big upgrade, but it's a good one still. Just to find consistent O-line help in the league during the season is pretty hard as it is. So I think it's a good move. Yeah,
it's a really good move. They just lost their star left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy that is not a huge drop off is good. Is a really good move, especially when you want to keep competing.
Yeah, and that's where the Vikings are. At the top of their, or tied for the top of their division right now, right?
They might be second place, to be honest.
Actually, that's right. Yeah, okay. I was trying to remember.
Oh, how that happens, dude. They're third place.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because...
because... Yep.
The Packers are 6-2. Mm-hmm. Just because of a bye week, dude. Just because of a bye week.
That's insane.
All right. The turntables.
That's it for NFL news. Dylan, take it off to He Hate Me.
He Hate Me. He Hate Me is a little different this week. This week might have been one of the worst fantasy weekends, football weekends I've really ever had as a Bears fan. And I really think my own team hates me, and maybe all the fans too. All the Bears fans feel very disappointed, very hated, very low. And it's like, we've seen this movie before. And I'll tell you what, I know we haven't talked about this game yet, but this whole game, and I'll have you remember, as soon as this game kicked off and the Bears got the ball first, and they had that false start and then like a sack, and then it was a 3-and-out. I texted in our group chat. I was like, oh, the Bears are losing this game. I've seen this movie 100 times. I've seen it 100 times. And that's why when this Hail Mary, dude, I watched this Hail Mary like that. I watched it like this, and I should have went like this. I should have not watched it.
That's what Tyreek Stevenson was doing, but we'll get to that too.
Oh man, he's the one that hates me, dude.
Oh yeah.
Also, Brock Bowers hates me. Tight end day, 5 catches, 60 yards. What the fuck is that, dude? It's your day. You're the tight end one, and I know the Raiders suck, right? We knew they weren't going to win this game, but fucking come on, dude. I can't even get one touchdown from the tight end one all season. He hates me. And yeah, dude, like I said, this is going to be different. I don't really have anything else to say. It's just, I went 0-4 in fantasy this week. 3 of those 4 losses, I scored 130 points and got beat. Okay. And then the one loss I did have where I didn't score that much, it was middling days from everybody. Breece Hall, Saquon Barkley, freaking, like Evan Ingram for a while. He got a touchdown, but shit, my whole team hates me, dude. I hate me.
Yeah. Is that it, or?
I don't know, dude. I could keep going.
I want to throw one out there, though, too. It's not necessarily fantasy related because he ended up having a fantasy day, but it more pertains to how it made your team lose. Whoever's calling the plays in Baltimore, if it's John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, whoever, why the hell did Derrick Henry only get 12 carries when he was being so efficient with each and every single one of them? Just why? You lost this game because you did not give Derrick Henry the rock consistently. Give him the ball 20 plus times. 3 or 4 of those runs are bound to be huge ones, maybe for touchdowns.
Yeah, it really did. It really, the Ravens offense didn't look as good. It didn't look necessarily as flowing as it was.
Well, I think they did the wrong things. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, they definitely did. They didn't get that run game established. And I just felt this game I knew the Browns were going to win. It's Jameis Winston. He has that magic. So yeah. Who is it? It's got to be that Monken, right?
Yeah, no, This is exactly what he did in the AFC Championship last year against the Chiefs. He stopped running the ball, especially when it was good. Like, I remember last year, I think Gus Edwards had he had 10 carries for 70 yards. Efficient carries. It's not like they were nine carries for 10 yards. It's like you don't give up on the run game. Otherwise, it's just crazy. They get too cute. Why are we trying to make Lamar throw the ball 40 plus times? Especially when you have a guy like Derrick Henry. It's just crazy.
It was a close game.
And it was a close game on top of that. Yeah, exactly. It's just stupid. They did this shit last year in the AFC Championship game. It gave me fucking PTSD. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and you could have controlled the clock a lot more and not
given
the Browns as much time. Although, Jameis didn't even look like he needed time in this game. He was just slinging it all over that fucking, awful Ravens pass defense anyways.
Yeah, we'll get to that game later.
Fucking bullshit.
Yeah, so is that it for He Hate Me? You got anyone else? I'm sure you got plenty.
I got all of them, dude. Yeah. Everybody hates me.
Yeah. All right, then let's get to the Week 8 review. All right, we're going to start up with the RTP standings update. So, Dylan, you went 12 for 4 this week, and you are now 73 and 51, still in first place. I am right behind you at 70 and 54. I also went 12 and 4 this week. And then Brian went 9 and 7 this week, and now he is 66 and 58. So he is 4 back of me and 7 back of you. So yeah, he slipped a little bit this week. Yeah, it happens. Well, he's got some time.
He does. It's only week 8. Well, it's week 9 now, but still.
But yeah, anyways, before we even start, big news of the weekend, tight end national, or what were they calling it? National Tight End Week? Yeah, so tight ends obviously dominated the weekend. We had 16 touchdowns and 177 total receptions scored by the position on Sunday. So that's pretty crazy. I mean, we knew, like, coming into this week, it was just weird seeing that happen because, as we all know, tight ends were such a wasteland from this point on. You know, it's just so hard to get a good, consistent tight end, and here they all are scoring. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude, except Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
But it's the law of averages. This is the law of averages, everything balancing out. I wouldn't be surprised to see the tight end scoring go up from here. You know, not like up, but like up from the season average. I could see it continuing to trend upwards.
Yeah. That was actually almost the raging question of the day. I was going to ask our tight ends back, so I think you just kind of answered it a little bit. Yeah. So with that being said, let's jump into Monday Night Football. So Steelers won this game 26-18 against the New York Giants. Russell Wilson is solid again with a 20-28, 278-yard, 1 touchdown performance, spurting the ball around pretty well too. You know, his Pickens with his connection with Pickens looks legit. I don't even know what the hell I was trying to say there.
It's all right, dude. Yeah, dude, I like Russell Wilson. That touchdown pass he had to Calvin Austin was like a vintage Russell Wilson touch pass. It was beautiful coming off the hand. There could have been a couple more touchdowns that were not touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, Pickens had one, right?
Yeah, Pickens had one where like he got his 1 foot down twice, but his second foot just hovered above the ground for like 10 seconds.
I saw that. I was like, how does that even happen? But it was just funny.
I don't know, dude. It was wild, bro. And, you know, they can pretty much say Calvin Austin won them this game. I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
He was their stud this week. So who knows? Who knows what he's about to pop off with in this offense?
Calvin Austin, scored 2 touchdowns in this game. He had 3 catches for 54 yards and one of the touchdowns, and then he had a 73-yard kickoff return touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, he's been used in special teams for like the past few years now, but man, I feel like he kind of reminds me of like a potential Rashid Shaheed in this offense. You know, just that kind of do-it-all kind of guy.
Yeah. I like a guy like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Najee had a pretty solid game as well. He had 19 carries for 144 yards. Mike Tomlin is now 22-0 in his career on Monday Night Football. I saw that and I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
Dude, the Steelers have not lost Monday Night Football at home since 1992, brother.
Wow.
They are undefeated on Monday Night Football at home since right after I was born.
That's crazy. Yeah, no,
what
I mean,
can you do?
You can't do nothing. He's still one of the better coaches in this league. It doesn't matter. Like, and he's still so young too. I feel like he's going to be coaching for a long time still.
Yeah, he'll be like coach for the Steelers for like 46 years.
Imagine what is the longest time that a coach has ever coached?
Let me see.
That's actually because, you know, Mike Tomlin, I feel like could be a good candidate for that just because of his age. But for one team,
head coach?
Yeah, head coach for one team.
29 seasons, Tom Landry.
Okay.
Consecutive from 60 to 88, tied with Curly Lambeau.
And what's Mike Tomlin at right now? He's got to be at like 20, right?
Let me see. He has been
it's got to be like 20 something years.
17.
Okay, 17.
Wait. Yeah, I think so. 17 years.
So yeah, I mean, if he keeps going like this with the Steelers, he could beat that record maybe. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, he was 36 when he got hired, so he is 51 now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
if he coaches 10 more years, 12 more years, he's got it.
Yeah, and I think he could. But yeah,
guys are coaching into their 60s, 70s all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick, one of them. Yeah, so moving on to the Giants side real quick. Daniel Jones, 24 for 38, 264 yards, and an interception. The Giants started coming back a little bit in this game once they found their footing. Tyrone Tracy has officially taken over the New York Giants backfield, 20 for 145 yards and a touchdown. Singletary only got 2 carries and 3 targets in this game, so he took a clear backseat to Tyrone Tracy here. So it's nice to have some clarity now. It kind of looks like Tyrone Tracy is the guy in New York, and I think he's looking pretty good. You know, yet to be said if he's going to replace Saquon Barkley, but we'll see.
I mean, he's got the opportunity. 20 carries carries to 2 carries is such a vast disparity. Devin Singletary is like an afterthought in that offense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a piece pretty safe to drop from your rosters by now. Other than that, the New York Giants pass catchers, Darius Slayton, 4 for 108 yards, and Malik Neighbors, 7 for 77. That's pretty much, or 7 for 71. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I mean, we kind of knew the Steelers were going to come in. I didn't expect the Giants to keep it close. It actually ended up being a pretty decent game overall for a slow Monday night.
Yeah. Still not a great game, though.
No, yeah.
Kind of a snoozer.
Kind of got overshadowed by the World Series anyways, too, especially if you're a New York person.
That'll happen.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the Sunday night football game, 49ers and Cowboys. 49ers won this game 30-24. So this was honestly a really good game. Cowboys are really trying to make a rally back, and the 49ers held them off. So Brock Purdy solid in the victory. 18 for 26, 260 yards and a touchdown. He also had 56 rushing yards and another touchdown. Isaac Guerrero, in relief for an injured Jordan Mason, carries the 49ers run game, 14 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. So I thought he looked pretty good, too. It's just crazy. Every running back that steps in for the 49ers just works.
Yeah. I got to say, Kyle Shanahan's probably the best at getting guys that fit his scheme.
Absolutely. Especially in the running back department. Mm. Yeah, so George Kittle, the star of the night for the 49ers on National Tight End Week, 6 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown. Dak struggles once again, 25 for 38, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Just has not looked like the quarterback he needs to be since getting paid all that big money.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's really sad for Dallas too, man, because they have the formula. We've seen it work, and it's just like, what's the problem? We just don't know, but it's probably Dak at this point.
Yeah, I feel like they have rested on their laurels with the 2016 season and having that stud offensive line. They didn't do anything to continue the dominance on their offensive line.
Yeah.
It's a shadow and a shell of what it used to be, what those running backs used to be running behind, who was protecting Dak's blind side. It's just all changed, and it just shows like, no, he's not the quarterback that can go out there and win you 12 games.
Yeah,
he needs a perfect environment. I mean, it doesn't help that defense is a little hobbled as well. Michael Parsons was out, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree. I feel like Dak really hasn't had a fair shake this season either. You know, as you said, the O-line is busted. They literally have no run game. The defense stinks. You know, it's just like... Yeah. It's like I see the vision with Dak too. You know, it's like he is a good quarterback. He can move him down the field, but he throws back-breaking interceptions, and he just doesn't come up in the clutch. So just really unfortunate. But yeah, as I said with the run game, it continues to be ineffective. Zeke, 10 for 34 yards and a touchdown. Dalvin Cook in his debut, 6 carries for 12 yards. So... CeeDee Lamb, though, had a good game, 13 catches, 146 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, if you have him in fantasy, at least, CeeDee Lamb can still benefit from the Cowboys sucking. But
that's a crazy stat line, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. But lastly, are the Cowboys in trouble?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so, too. Yeah, I mean, especially with it kind of looks like the Eagles are starting to figure things out. The Commanders are, having one of their crazy seasons right now. And it's just, I think the Cowboys just might not have enough to make it into the postseason at this point.
Yeah, with the Commanders being 6-2, if they win 4 more games they're almost a lock for the 7th seed, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just, they might get pushed out of playoff contention just because, there might be too many good teams in the NFL. I mean, in the NFC, that a couple teams with 10 wins might be left out.
Actually, yeah, I didn't even think about the NFC North either. Yeah, it's going to be real interesting when that happens. Yeah. But good for the 49ers here. They really needed this win, honestly, too. I think they were in the same boat as the Cowboys before this game. Both teams kind of just high-flying teams. Very questionable right now, though. Yeah.
To say the least.
All right, so moving on. All right, Dylan, let's rip off this Band-Aid. Commanders win this game 18-15 against the Bears. So Jaden Diamonds / Daniels plays through injury and delivers on a game-winning drive via Hail Mary. He went 21 for 38 this game, 326 yards, 1 touchdown, and 52 rushing yards. All right, so let's talk about the Hail Mary here since they're all kind of intertwined together. We'll talk about Tyreek Stevenson. Let us know, Dylan.
Yeah, dude, Tyreek Stevenson.
Well, explain to the fans what happened in case they didn't actually watch the highlight.
So seeing it live, you didn't see this, but Tyreek Stevenson had his back to the offense when the ball was snapped. He was taunting the fans 55 yards off the line of scrimmage. He was looking and pointing at the fans. I guarantee you he locked eyes with a Bears fan in the stands, and the guy goes, dude! And he turns around. Dude, he runs as fast as I've ever seen across the field, and he's the one that tips the pass into Noah Brown's hands, dude. He's a jackass. He's a fucking jackass, brother. That was the worst moment I've ever seen, dude. Everybody's ripping him to pieces. That was the most showboating shit ever. I even saw a Bears fan go, dude, if you would have just standed there and kept taunting the crowd, that would have never happened. And you would have the coldest photo ever, dude. You probably would have had a picture of you fucking taunting the crowd as they're batting down the fucking Hail Mary in the background. And then look, now you're just a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a great
I was gonna say I was gonna say that too. It's just so funny that he was so out of the play at the beginning and just had no idea what was happening, only to come back into the play and be the one that caused it to be the bad play. Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, you're coached from a young age. Don't let anybody behind you on a Hail Mary. Let them catch it at the 2 and push them and keep them out. Catch it at the 5. Do something. Don't let someone get behind you, dude. And I've seen it multiple times with these defensive players play too shallow on the Hail Marys, dude. And what's the guy, 5'9"? Put someone else out there, dude. Put a tall guy out there. It doesn't even matter. You could put Cole Kmet on the goal line, and that would have never happened.
Yeah, actually.
Intercept the pass, dude. Do anything, dude. Do anything other than what you did.
Yeah. I mean, I know it was soul crushing for you, but it was a pretty cool moment otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Noah Brown was the wide receiver who caught the game winning Hail Mary touchdown. So he ended off the day 3 for 77 yards. Washington run game solid despite the tough matchup. Brian Robinson went 16 for 65 and Eckler went 7 for 52 yards. So not bad considering the defense in front of him. Scary Terry 5 for 125 yards and Zach Ertz 7 for 77. So yeah, I mean, they were kind of piecing up the Bears, but they were coming into this game with some injuries. Who were you guys missing again? Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker. Yeah. So
all right, dude. We needed you. We needed both of them, dude. I hope Jaquan Brisker's brain is okay now. I hope Kyler Gordon comes back, and I hope Tyreek Stevenson has a nice time keeping that cold bench warm, brother. Because I don't know how many more plays you're gonna get before you get put back in that damn game, dude. Because that was horrific. Terry McLaurin, he had like a 60-yard catch, and it was over Tyreek Stevenson. Yeah. He stinks.
Yeah, he had a bad game. So over on the other side of the ball, Caleb Williams really struggled this game. 10 for 24, 131 yards and 41 rushing yards. He didn't make any big, he didn't turn the ball over though, at least. So DeAndre Swift, 18 for 129 yards. Roshan Johnson, 2 for 6 yards. They scored Chicago's only 2 touchdowns. So One burning question I want to ask here is, did Jaden Daniels pull away from Caleb Williams in the Offensive Rookie of the Year race? And I'm going to be the first one to say I think he did a little bit.
I definitely think that he did. It was just too efficient of a game, and he seemed like he was in control of that offense at all times until they got into the red zone. They are who I said they were, though. I said that they're a team that can move it between the 20s, but once they get into the red zone, dude, they cannot punch it in. They had 4 trips to the red zone and got 4 field goals.
I mean, that's also maybe credit to the Bears defense a little bit too, because they are pretty feisty in the red zone.
Yeah, they're pretty feisty in the red zone. It's just, I know the Commanders can get that offense to the next level, and that is scoring in the red zone, in which it's been a little bit tough for them this year. You know, they're good from scoring farther out or having like an explosive play. But the hidden gem in this game is that besides the Hail Mary pass, the Bears defense still played very well. They still have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And yeah, for Jaden Daniels to come in and actually do his part to win this game and not make those turnovers and run selectively and still have 52 rushing yards with a rib cartilage injury, it sucks, dude. So yeah, dude, he's probably the front runner for the Rookie of the Year.
I think so too. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, this was the most yards that he's thrown for this year as well. So, I mean, for everything that I was seeing, like the deep balls that he was throwing, just the decision making, this looked like the quarterback that I saw at LSU, the one that won the Heisman last year. So I think he's really coming into form now, and it's very exciting football, honestly. I'm actually very happy that he's in the league now.
Yeah, man, it's good for the NFL. It's good for the NFL to have these young quarterbacks.
I'm just sorry you had to break your heart, though.
Oh, dude, he didn't break my heart, dude. Tyreek Stevenson did. And also, like, Matt Eberflus, you know, you got to have that. You got to coach your team to play a little bit better in those situations.
Yeah. I mean, he's done a good job so far, so I guess we can let this one slide, right? I mean, it was a freak play. It shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it should have happened.
Yeah, so we'll chalk it up to that. All right, moving on. Chiefs 27, Raiders 20. Mahomes gets his revenge for the Kermit incident. He went 27 for 38, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Travis Kelce shines on National Tight End Day, of course. 10 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Worthy also scores 4 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins in his Kansas City debut, 2 catches for 29 yards. We kind of expected this. Maybe we expected a slow start, or were we ramping them up too much a little bit because it was the Raiders?
No, it is going to be a slow start. I mean, you still got to learn the playbook, you know, and I'm sure the Chiefs playbook is pretty intricate.
Yeah. So Minshew is decent, but not good enough in this game. He went 24 for 30, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, also lost a fumble. Jacoby Myers had one of the touchdowns, 6 catches for 52 yards. I didn't finish notes on here. I apologize. Oh, yeah. Dude. So as you were saying earlier, Brock Bowers, only 5 catches for 58 yards. Still double digits in fantasy, but on National Tight End Day, I'm sure people are kind of like, oh, where's Brock Bowers?
Yeah. Kind of let down a little bit, but
yeah, but he's still having a fantastic season, though.
Oh,
I mean, yeah. Other than that, though, Raiders just absolutely no run game. Alexander Mattison, 14 carries for 15 yards. You ain't gonna get nowhere with that. Yeah,
literally, dude, he didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, other than that, there really wasn't anything too exciting about this game. I mean, I guess the Raiders, they got to score on the Kansas City Chiefs defense, so that looked good. But other than that, Chiefs pull away with this one, and they are 7-0 on the year. They somehow find a way to do it, and it stinks.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's inevitable that the Chiefs are just gonna go like 14-3 or 15-2.
Maybe win the Super Bowl. Why not?
And probably win the Super Bowl, dude. They're probably going to win the Super Bowl because, like, the last 2 games of the regular season, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for, like like 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns or something like that. He'll just have like, oh, actually, by the way, check this out. I'm just gonna have the 2 best games you've ever seen.
And then let me guess, it's gonna be a non-fantasy week too. It's gonna be like week 18.
It'll be like week 17 when they're going to like clinch the 1 seed.
Yeah.
It might be a fantasy week. Who knows?
Maybe,
but it's just.
I would just say that that would be ironic. You drafted Patrick Mahomes and he has his best season or his best week of the season, week 18.
Dude, or he just does like mediocre the rest of the year and then throws like 14 touchdowns in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's like
you'll take it either way, I guess.
If you're a Chiefs fan,
yeah.
No, in the NFL playoffs, so it's really not fantasy.
That's true. All right, moving on. So this is a fun one. Broncos 28. Panthers 14. Bo Nix, Brian's savior pick. Great pick. He went 28 for 37, 284 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown. I believe he scored like 30 something points in fantasy. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it was a gnarly game.
That was a good pick by Brian. Honestly, I'm very proud of him for that one. Panthers gave him a scare at first as Bryce Young threw a touchdown to Leggett early, but they came back down to earth after that. Yeah, ironically, Bryce Young, not a bad game from him, honestly, from what we were expecting. We all thought that Bryce Young would just get trounced this game, but, he went 24 for 37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So he still had the 2 picks, but at least he was throwing touchdowns finally.
Yeah, definitely, dude. On a different note, there's only 7 teams in the AFC with a winning record right now through 8 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And 3 of them are in the AFC West. Who would have fucking thought that shit was going to happen?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro. It's
been a weird year. I think we can all agree to that.
It has been a weird year, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird trends I've been noticing this season. So rest of this game, yeah. So Chuba struggles, 15 for 56 yards, but good news for Hubbard owners. There are apparently rumors that Jonathan Brooks may not play at all this season. So what do you think about that? I mean, is this because he's not injured, or is this because, the Panthers are just not playing for anything anymore?
Well, I did say this earlier in the year that he'll probably get shut down the rest of the season, or there's a good chance, just because they stink so bad. I don't think they want to see what they get out of him. I don't think that that's like the first thing on their list is like, let's see what we can get out of our injured rookie running back, Yeah. Maybe they're looking forward to next year. Or maybe they're looking forward to like 10 years from now when this is all said and done. It's just like, I don't know what they even have to look forward to. So if he doesn't play, it's great news for Chuba.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because he's having a fantastic season.
I think even if he does play, it doesn't affect Chuba Hubbard that much.
Yeah, because, they're probably going to ramp him up slow. Yeah. But I actually I see the vision with not playing Brooks this year. Maybe you just don't want to throw out your, high-profile running back out into a bad situation, someone that you are hoping that is going to be like the future of your offense potentially. So maybe throw them out next year when you get some O-line help, make some changes, figure out what works. So yeah, I like the idea.
There's a good chance they're worse next year.
Yeah.
I don't see how, but they could be worse next year. So who knows?
Yeah. So Adam Troutman also joins the National Tight End Day celebration with 4 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Let me pull up the other stats here for our pass catching options. Where the hell did it go? Oh, here we go. So so Cortland Sutton, 8 catches for 100 yards. And then Jaleel McLaughlin had one of the touchdown catches, and then a guy named Nate Adkins.
Yes, that's what happens in the NFL these days.
Yeah. So this was also a weird trend that I noticed, though, too. It's like, so there was a week where Troy Franklin had the most catches in the offense in the same game where Cortland Sutton had 0 catches. This game, Cortland Sutton has 8 catches, whereas Troy Franklin had 1. He was one of my saviors this week, too. So I was like, it just stunk. And I actually started him in one league, too, just hoping. But
yeah, it just seems like Bo Nix probably just doesn't have a favorite receiver. Maybe he's a good quarterback that just hits the guys that are open or having good games.
Yeah. which is what a good quarterback should do, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, other than that, I think that's about it for this game. Unless you got anything else you want to throw out there.
No, dude, this was like a pretty uninspiring game. It was good for fantasy if you had the right guys, but other than that,
good for Bo Nix though going forward though, man. I mean, I know it's just the Panthers, but I mean, this is it's good to see him have a good game like this. You know, probably his best game of the season as of now.
Dude, everybody's fucking up the Panthers this year.
True. Yeah. It's gonna be a theme going forward.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So let's get to this one. Bills 31, Seahawks 10. Bills are all the way back, and they might be back to being the Super Bowl favorites. Josh Allen, 24 for 34, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. James Cook pops off for 111 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Khalil Shakir, 9 catches for 107 yards. He has caught 36 of 38 targets this season, so very efficient with his targets. Keon Coleman has one of the best touchdown grabs of the week, if not the season, with a one-handed touchdown catch over Tariq Woolen. He went 5 for 70 and the touchdown on the day. So, yeah, really cool catch.
It was, dude, and he kind of flashed what they drafted him for.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's like that 50-50 ball guy. Like, he's nasty. He's going to go up and get it, and he's going to be your dependable red zone target. And you give Josh Allen a guy like that, he's going to put it on him.
This is exactly what he was doing in college, too. He was making all sorts of 50-50 catches like this, you know, just winning him over smaller cornerbacks and dime backs and shit. Yeah, so this was fantastic. You know, I kind of said that Keon Coleman would ramp up a little bit slow, but now he's turning into the player that I think he's going to be for fantasy. Dalton Kincaid, also in on the tight end day contribution, 4 catches for 31 yards and a touchdown. The Seahawks struggle without DK. Geno went 21 for 29, 212 yards, and 1 interception. Kenneth Walker, nowhere to be found. He went 9 carries for 12 yards, 4 catches for 33, and Charbonnet vultured a goal line touchdown from him. So really stinks if you're a Kenneth Walker guy this week. Mm-hmm. But also, this might have been a matchup where I might have been like, maybe I'll sit him, but you can't really make those decisions in fantasy with the running back position as slim as it is.
That's very true. That's very true. Josh Allen threw his first interception of the season in this game.
I noticed that. Yeah, he really has been very careful with the ball this year compared to years past where he hasn't been very careful with the ball.
And that's kind of a scary thing if you're thinking about Josh Allen being like a highly efficient like quarterback that just is picking apart defenses. Like, we haven't necessarily seen this out of him.
Yeah.
But if this offense can get rolling a little bit more, that could be dangerous.
Well, I think it is very dangerous because I feel like that's always been the one thing that's held Josh Allen back is the fact that he's very turnover prone. I mean, if he, like, I always thought, like, you know, if he cleaned that up, like, he's by far and away the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
I'd say it's close.
It's close. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely, the AFC is stacked with just great quarterbacks this year. And, this might be Josh Allen's probably easiest path to the playoffs he's ever had in his NFL career, coming out of the AFC East.
Hold on a second. They're still the Chiefs.
Coming out of the AFC East is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
Because, I mean, they're 6-2. They have 6 wins. The rest of the AFC teams combined have 6 wins. So
yeah, you're right.
They're uncontested in that division right now. And as long as they could just keep up their momentum, they're a lock for the playoffs already. Yeah. They're the one team in the NFL that's just, maybe except the Chiefs, there's just an absolute lock to win their division this year.
I agree.
Already.
Yeah. No doubt in my mind. So the Seattle wide receivers without DK Metcalf in the game. JSN went 6 for 69. Tyler Lockett only 1 for 9. Jake Bobo 1 for 15, and Noah Fant 3 for 22. So, yeah, it just does not look good without DK there in the lineup. You know, it just really shows you the impact that he has on their passing game, even when he's not catching the pass.
It might actually show as well, like, just how good the Bills' defense really is and can be.
Yeah. You know, I mean, they were coming in with some injuries this year, but they've really turned into a cohesive unit. Yeah,
they're on the lower end of points allowed this year. they've only allowed 146 points, and I feel like they're having a lot of these wins where they're just dominating the other side of the ball. And it's just, they've had multiple blowout wins. They've had four blowout wins this year. Of their 6 have just been them actually just blowing their opponents out of the water. So take that with a grain of salt. Their opponents have been a little bit weaker that they've beaten, but still.
Yeah, I think their schedule gets a little bit harder, so we'll get a good make of what the Bills actually are before the playoffs.
Yeah, they have a stretch of their season this year that's Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. We'll learn a lot about the Bills on those 4 weeks.
Yeah. You want to play the schedule game with those 4 games real quick? What was the lineup again?
It was Chiefs. They play home versus the Chiefs.
Okay. I'm
going to call that an L, dude.
You think an L at Buffalo?
Yeah, dude, because it's just...
Let's just say L for the point of the exercise.
That's a Chiefs game,
Yeah.
At home versus the Niners.
Kind of want to give that to the Bills, honestly. At least until the Niners show me more. I don't know. Niners are kind of hard to trust right now, too. Yeah,
they might be having CMC back. He might be a couple weeks in. That offense could look a little bit different.
That's true.
I would say that's a Sunday night game. Prime time. I want to give it to the. I'll honestly, probably give it to the Bills.
Okay, let's say
at home in December.
Yeah.
At the Rams. What do we think of the Rams lately?
I mean, I think they're trending in the right direction, but it's going to be hard to say where they're at that point in time. But I mean, if they keep going this direction, I mean, it could be a spicy matchup.
It definitely could be a spicy matchup, but I still probably want to give it
to the Bills. Yeah, I think they're probably more complete team still.
And they have a crazy run game, but that game at the Lions, December 15th.
Oh, that's Lions.
In Detroit.
That's Lions.
I think this is not a game that the Lions necessarily lose. I think it's going to be really good game.
So Bills go, what was that?
3-1.
1-3.
No, right? we had them losing to the Chiefs. Okay, so 2-2.
Okay.
Beating the Niners and Rams, losing to the Chiefs and Lions.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be an interesting stretch.
It is. It's good games.
All right. Let's move on to this one. Chargers 26 at the Saints 8. Justin Herbert solid in the win, 20 for 32, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 49 rushing yards. Let's talk about the dirty hit on Herbert. Did you see that? The Saints defensive tackle, he kind of wrapped up Justin Herbert on his ankle and looked like he was like trying to twist it on the way down. Like, you saw the play?
Yeah, I saw that, and it does look like a lot of frustration coming out.
Yeah. Looked like he was mad.
He was definitely mad, and he knew that ball was gone. He knew that he should let him go, and it's against the rules to hit a quarterback low, and I think that has something to do with hitting the quarterback low, trying to twist on him and stuff. Not excusing it by any means, but I don't think it was necessarily as dirty as some people want to make it. It could have been a lot dirtier. I've seen a lot dirtier. But I did like the retaliation that his offensive lineman had.
Yeah, Bradley Bozeman.
Dude, he was holding him down, brother.
Oh, I know. He was like screaming in his face. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Yeah. It just didn't look good to me. It's like, I'm sure it wasn't as intentional, but it just did not look good. He literally looked like a gator trying to fucking death roll his ankle,
Yeah. It's not a good look either way. You don't want a defensive player trying to do that to a quarterback, and
especially when you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, and you also don't want your offensive lineman putting himself in the line of fire to be punished as well, depending on how that might have escalated. So it's a bad look for both sides, I think. Like optically, because that could have escalated. Of course, yeah. So you don't want any of it to happen, But I put more blame on, was it Nathan Shepard? Who are you? Who are you? And like, we just learned Bradley Bozeman's name too. So like, this is putting these guys on the map. And, they say if you ever hear an offensive lineman's name, it's for bad reasons. But in this case, it's like for being a badass,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens to the lineman. But obviously, the defensive tackle, there's calls for suspension and fines throughout the media. So, yeah. It didn't look good. I mean, there's really no way you could twist it any other way. Or, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So anyways, J.K. Dobbins continues his fine season in this game. He has 17 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey has arrived. 6 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, this is kind of what they drafted him for. This is the player that I thought he was going to look like. So I'm very happy to see him get himself on the map here a little bit. So both Saints rookie quarterbacks get played in this game, but neither are very impressive. Spencer Rattler was 12 for 24, 156 yards, and Jake Haener was 9 for 17, 122 yards. No touchdowns from either of them. Alvin Kamara, 10 for 67 yards on the ground, 6 catches for 55 yards, and Chris Olave, 8 catches for 107 yards, were the only lone bright spots on the day in fantasy football for the Saints. So, yeah, we kind of expected this, right? Jim Harbaugh is going to come in here completely outclass Dennis Allen. And yeah, Saints are just awful without Derek Carr.
Oh, man. Yeah. The Saints going 2-0 and then now are 2-6 is one of the biggest fall offs
I've ever
really seen by a team, considering how hot they actually started and how good they were those first 2 weeks.
And just who they were beating too. It was just like,
yeah. I mean, their first 2, they beat the Panthers week 1. Everybody beats the Panthers except for the Raiders. And then they beat the Cowboys pretty convincingly week 2, which has turned to be a little bit easier than we thought as well. So they played the Panthers this week. Something's got to give, right?
Unless, I mean, what if the Panthers beat the Saints? And are the Saints the worst team in the NFL?
Oh, dude. Brian's picking the Panthers again, dude.
If there's any week for Brian to pick the Panthers, it is this week.
And he's gonna do it.
Well, we gotta make sure he does it.
Oh man, stinky game all around. 8 points.
Yeah,
I believe at one point this game was 3-2.
Yeah, no, I actually, when I saw that, I was like, maybe this game has scoregami potential.
26-8 is still a crazy score too, but it was it was 5-3 after that. The Saints kicked a field goal or something like that. They didn't even have a touchdown, did they?
No.
The Saints, they didn't have a touchdown whatsoever. So yeah, stinky game. Yeah, the Saints are stinky.
One last thing real quick. So Ladd McConkey, I think he's obviously flex consideration every week now based on the matchup, right?
I would say so. I mean, if he's got that chemistry with Justin Herbert, that's what you're kind of looking for. He has yet to find his number one guy in that offense, so maybe it is the lad.
Nice.
Maybe it is the lad McConkey.
I do like the lad. All right, moving on. Texans 23, Colts 20. Yeah, so this was pretty fun game towards the end. CJ Stroud 25 for 37, 285 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon continues to have a career season. He went 25 for 102 yards and a touchdown. Also had 4 catches for 32 yards. So as we meant, so Diggs before the injury, 5 catches for 81 yards. Dalton Schultz kind of showing up a little bit, 4 catches for 52 yards, but no touchdown on National Tight End Day. Tank Dell showed up with a touchdown, 4 catches for 35 yards. Anthony Richardson stinks.
Yeah.
10 for 32, 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 45 rushing yards, and a fumble loss. Josh Downs was the lone productive wide receiver of the day. He had 4 catches for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. Every other receiving option had 1 catch.
Yeah, man, this Colts offense doesn't work the same when it's not Flacco, huh?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's just...
10 for, yeah.
And it's literally like he did not have a good game. He literally got lucky with like 1 deep pass like he did like those other, like, when was it? When did he have like that big game?
It was week 1.
Yeah, so it's just like he's just getting lucky. He just got it. He got a deep one off. Josh Downs, good downfield wide receiver, kind of just saved him on that play a little bit. So Yeah, so as we were talking about earlier, Richardson obviously got benched because of this performance, and I'm kind of glad he did. The Colts had every chance to win this game somehow still, and they lost probably because of Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah, I do think if Flacco would have played, they probably would have beat the Texans.
And he's already beat C.J. Stroud before, so it would have been number 2. Yeah.
And it's just, I guess it's good for the Colts that they decided to make this choice now because, I mean, they're 4-4 through 8 weeks. They can basically just say, Flacco, 8 games, baby. We need you for 8 games just to come out.
And maybe a few more.
Yeah, 8 or like the rest of the regular season. We need you to come out and we need you to perform. We need your magic. And he's going to say, okay, I can do it. And I believe if they would have made that choice earlier, they would be right now second place still, but they would be 5-3 right behind the Texans for that division lead.
Yeah, I can agree. Yep. Yeah, it really stinks for the Colts here, but at least it looks like they're going to trend in the right direction, hopefully, from here on out. So with that being said, let's move on. Packers 30, Jaguars 27. So Jordan Love went down with an injury in this game, strained his groin. Apparently it's nothing major per Ian Rappaport. So he was 14 for 22, 196 yards, and threw 1 interception in this game before the injury. Malik Willis came in, went 4 for 5, 56 yards, and threw a touchdown in relief. Josh Jacobs, fantastic day, 25 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Honestly, probably a huge reason why they won this game.
Oh, yeah, dude. Whenever
quarterback goes down.
And then you have that running back that can kind of step up and carry the load.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did.
That's exactly what he did. And Josh Jacobs is looking super good this year.
Oh, yeah. No, I was kind of down on him, but I also saw the vision. I just didn't want to be the guy to take him and be wrong,
Yeah, and that's what happens. Sometimes you miss out on a guy because he won't pull the trigger. And I'm sure the people that did in fantasy are very happy about these kinds of games in specifics.
Oh, absolutely.
In particular.
Yeah. So Tucker Kraft also making his name known on National Tight End Day, 3 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown. Xavier McKinney generates his 6th interception of the year in this game, also the highest in his career so far. So through 8 games, he has 6 interceptions. He's been fantastic for this defense.
Man, the last couple of years in the NFL, I think like the last 4 years, there's like been one specific guy each year. It was like Trayvon Diggs one year. And then I think it was the other Cowboys cornerback the next year.
Deron Bland.
Yeah, Deron Bland. And then now you got Xavier McKinney, like just absolutely popping off at defensive back.
Yeah.
And getting like 10 interceptions. So I hate to see it because it's a Packers player, though. Yeah.
I mean, this is just like the thing that I love, though, is like when I first heard about this move, I was like, man, this is such a good fit. This is going to work out so well. And sure enough, it does. Highest interceptions in his career so far. I just love when you see a highly talented player finally join the defense that he was meant to be on.
Yeah, man. And that Packers defense looks just primed.
Oh, yeah.
Primed. Like,
I mean, they let the Jaguars come back a little bit, but, they held when they needed to. So.
Yeah, that's all that matters. And I mean the Jaguars are okay, It's interesting how they had 2 injuries to their receivers and yet still stayed in this game till the end. It's a little bit, you're wondering why and how,
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence went 21 for 32 in this game, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception in the comeback attempt. Christian Kirk was 2 catches for 59 yards before he broke his collarbone, and he is now out for the season. So very unfortunate for the Jaguars. Brian Thomas Jr., 3 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, also got injured in this game. It's a ribs injury. Initial reports say that he's going to be out about 2 to 4 weeks, but Doug Peterson is saying that he has a chance to play next week. So I'm guessing that means they're going to see if he just feels all right and he's going to play through the rib injury, kind of like how Jaden Daniels did. But it's kind of weird. I mean, if they're saying initially 2 to 4 weeks and you're going to be like, oh, he's going to play next week, it's weird.
Yeah, what's up with these AFC South receivers getting hurt and coming back like the next week? Like Michael Pittman a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Oh, he just like came back and played after they said he was going to be out for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope he does.
Is it like just some kind of smoke screen these coaches are throwing up, or?
I don't know, man. It's if I was the Jags, I'd kind of say like maybe we shut you down for a couple weeks as to like not get you injured further because they're not doing anything this year.
Yeah.
The Jags.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're a Brian Thomas Jr. owner, monitor that situation a little bit. It does have some upside now too. I mean, Christian Kirk being out for the season is going to open up some targets in that offense too. So, Evan Ingram, 4 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown on National Tight End Day as well. So big surprise there. So other than that, you have good game by the Packers. You know, they came back and won this when they really needed to. They lost Jordan Love and Malik Willis saves the day again. So good for the Packers. You know, they just make it work with every quarterback that comes in, much to Dylan's horror.
Yeah, it's like even Malik Willis looks pretty good, you know.
I know. It's just, how do they do it? All right. Moving on.
Blood magic. They do blood magic in Green Bay.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they do. Aaron Rodgers used to play for them.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah, this is the fun one right here. Browns 29, Ravens 24. Jameis Winston is king. 27 for 41, 334 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Looks like the best damn quarterback they've ever had all season. Not that it was a very hard thing to do in general. But Jameis was 8 for 11 for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns on throws of 15 plus air yards. So yeah, I'd noticed that he looked really good throwing that deep ball.
And hey, man, the Browns got nothing to lose, right? Like I said, whenever we were making our picks, like they got nothing to lose. They're 2-6 now. I say they probably just keep bombing it, dude. They just keep bombing it, trying to have a fun, like give their fans a show. And Jameis is the perfect quarterback if you want to just bomb it all the time.
Yeah. Just everything about him. Like if you watch the videos of him mic'd up during the game, his interview after the game, it's just such a good product. It's just, it's amazing since Cleveland.
Yeah, he's definitely one for like some of the best sound bites in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, it's just like, he was like, hey, man, he's like, play for the name on your back. Play for the name on your helmet. Wait a minute. We don't got decals. Anyways, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, he's just so funny. He's just so out there, but he just loves being wherever he's at that point in time.
I love it, bro.
Yeah, me too. So 4 different Browns pass catchers got 5+ receptions in this game. Cedric Tillman with 7 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore with 8. Jerry Jeudy with 5. David Njoku with 5 receptions and a touchdown on National Tight End Day. So I think the big story, though, as well for this game is Cedric Tillman. Is he a name that's interesting for you the rest of the year? 7 receptions, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, he looks like Cleveland's deep threat.
And what is Jameis? And what is Jameis?
Dude, he's looking deep, dude. He's looking deep all the time. And I mean, I have him in our home league, and I'm starting him this week. I'm starting Cedric Tillman.
Who are they playing?
I believe they're playing Indianapolis.
Ooh, okay, there you go.
Wait. No, they're playing the Chargers.
I mean, yeah, still, why not?
Still one. Sorry, I don't know why I thought Indianapolis, but yeah, they're playing the Chargers. I would definitely fire him up because if Jameis is bombing it out there and he's looking deep, he's going to be looking Cedric Tillman's way. And I'd say there's a pretty good chance that he has, 5+ more catches and a touchdown again. I don't see why you wouldn't think so. It's a whole new offense. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I definitely think he's worth a pickup for sure. I mean, everyone's going to be scrambling to find any kind of wide receiver from the Browns if this is going to continue. So I think Cedric Tillman is going to be the guy for me.
What about my old little
Elijah Moore?
I think Elijah Moore, dude.
I mean, obviously his value increases much more than it's ever been since Deshaun Watson's been playing. But yeah, I think he's worth a pickup. I don't know if I'd start him, but definitely worth monitoring.
Highest targets in this game, 12 targets.
True.
Targets, 80 catches,
true. Yeah.
85 yards.
I guess you're right. Anything is possible when Jameis is quarterback. So
anything's possible, dude.
Yeah. Over on the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson had a solid game, but it's still not enough because the Ravens struggle mightily on third down. Only 2 out of 10 conversions in this game. Lamar went 23 for 38, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, along with 46 rushing yards. Derrick Henry was efficient, but was given a questionable workload, so I kind of ranted about this earlier. 11 carries for 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Was averaging 6.6 yards per carry. Is this a big mistake from the Ravens? Kind of already talked about it. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't stop using your running back when he's getting 6 yards a carry. Like, you just don't.
Yeah, and also you would think that you'd want to just say, who on our team has the chance to have a breakaway touchdown from like 60 yards out? Do we have a guy like that? Oh, of course we do.
Yeah.
But don't give him the ball. Don't give him the ball in a close game.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Yep, stupid. Zay Flowers continues to be a high volume receiver in the offense. 7 catches on 12 targets for 115 yards. So I think this is going to keep continuing all year. I guess now with Diontae there, I mean, do you see it hurting Zay Flowers a little bit or helping?
I don't see it hurting Zay Flowers for probably the next 3-4 games. But as you get more integrated in there, I think Diontae Johnson's a better receiver. And we don't know what it's going to look like, but I imagine Lamar's going to probably throw it to the wide open guy. And like I said before, the chances are Diontae Johnson is going to be easy to scheme open.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that too. Other than that, Nelson Aguilar and Mark Andrews scored the only 2 receiving touchdowns for Baltimore. So Mark Andrews, National Tight End Day, of course. Other than that, yeah, this was a fun game. I mean, me and you, we called the Browns on this one. I kind of just copied you because you convinced me. So glad I took that chance with you. Very glad to see Jameis Winston just have his moment here. This was the upset of the week by far.
Hey, I'm super glad I can get you a win to keep you at pace with me. If it's what I got to do to keep first place, it's what I got to do.
Yeah, now help Brian.
Oh, poor Brian.
Shit. All right. Eagles 37, Bengals 17. So Eagles shake off another slow first quarter. They have not scored in the first quarter once this season. I've been ranting about this pretty much every episode we talk about the Eagles, if you haven't heard. So,
yeah.
Oh, I think once the Eagles get it together, though, once they do start scoring in the first quarter, I think this will be a very dangerous team. I was not feeling good about this game going into it, but man, after the second half, the Eagles just ran away with this game. The defense was lights out. The Eagles defense only allowed 7 points in all of the second half. Jalen Hurts. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's Vic Fangio, man. I mean, they were like, it was crazy to watch because Joe Burrow was dicing us up in the first half. You know, just a lot of dink and dunks, just getting all the short passes out, moving the offense up the field. But the one thing the Eagles weren't doing was they weren't letting him score. They weren't letting him, just bend but don't break. That's basically like, I feel like that's the Vic Fangio motto at this point.
Yeah, Vic Fangio is really good at adjustments. He's really good at changing up his offense at halftime to give you a different product in the second half, as to like confuse you and throw you off. And it's only a small sample size of what he can be with this defense. But going into these colder months, going into the hard hitting months, I would look for that Fangio defense to step it up a lot and probably create a lot of turnovers.
Oh yeah. Imagine when a guy like Cooper DeJean starts hitting you in the cold too.
Oof, you don't want that.
Yeah. By the way, really good tackler, too. That tackle on Jamar Chase to kind of save the fourth down. That was amazing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. So Jalen Hurts, huge day for the Eagles offense. If you're a Saquon Barkley owner, turn off your headset now. Jalen Hurts, 16 for 20, 236 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 37 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. I wanted one of those to go to Saquon Barkley so bad, bro. Just one. And I was just like, God damn it. This is kind of what we thought Jalen Hurts might do to the Eagles offense, right?
Yeah, and I could have used a nice little split of those touchdowns as well.
Me too.
See, I could have used a rushing touchdown from Saquon. I mean, considering Saquon is, I would say, the key to this offense, because although he might not have like a game-breaking game, like 22 for 108 is fine.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's a fine stat line. It's not gangbusters, You add a touchdown to that, it looks a little bit better. But Saquon seems to be making these plays for the Eagles exactly when they need them. Like he has like 19-yard run here on like 3rd and 7. You're like, who's running the ball at this time? And it's like the Eagles, because that guy right there, Saquon Barkley. So it's another guy going into these later weeks in the season that I think will take over a little bit more.
I hope so. Yeah. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown lead the wide receiver corps for the Eagles. So Devonta Smith, 6 catches for 85 yards and a sick touchdown. And then A.J. Brown, 5 catches for 84 yards. I just love Devonta Smith so much. Sometimes I see memes on social media that make fun of how small and skinny he is. Or like they'll like see like a video of him getting tossed like a rag doll. And they're like, oh, this is why you can't play wide receiver in the NFL. I'm like, dude, if you actually watch him play, he does not play like he's small. I really haven't, like, he's one of my favorite wide receivers in the terms of what he is doing at the point of the catch, like in those contested catches for such a small guy too. I just I love him so much.
Yeah, like his play style, whenever it comes to those times, reminds me a lot of Steve Smith, like an undersized receiver that he understands leverage, he understands high pointing the ball, he understands like his body control's really good, his route running's really good. And he doesn't seem like he quits on plays, and I can respect that out of a guy who probably gets beat up, a lot. Like those tackles hurt him a little bit more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So Burrow started off the game very solid here, but struggled in the second half, as I said earlier. So he went 26 for 37, 234 yards, a touchdown, and the interception. Really cool interception too, by the way. I don't know if you saw the play, but I'm trying to remember who the other corner was. So one of the corners, he smacked it over to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It was like he deflected the pass and it went right to his guy. It was almost like it was on purpose. It just looked really cool.
Hey, man, that's teamwork right there.
Yep. So Chase Brown, 12 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown in this game. Mike Gesicki, pretty solid game on tight end day, but no touchdown, 7 for 73 yards. Jamar Chase, 9 catches for 54 yards and the lone touchdown. T. Higgins did not play in this game, so I imagine if T. Higgins was in this game, the offense for the Bengals might have had a little bit easier of a time.
Yeah, it would have made you respect both sides of the field. It would have made you. Yeah, but at 20, does he get count for 20 points? Probably not.
No, I just said it probably makes it a little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, like I said, I'm very proud of the Eagles. This is kind of like the progression that I've wanted to see from them. I still would like to score in the first quarter though, but man, this was a good win against a very good offense.
Yeah, very good offense that y'all shut down.
Yeah, in the second half. Yeah, it's crazy. 7 points only. Yeah, big respect. All right, moving on. Falcons 31, Bucs 26. Kirko Chains, your savior of the week. This was a fantastic pick. When I saw that he had 3 first half passing touchdowns, I was like, man, Dylan's on fire with this pick. So Kirk Cousins, 23 for 39, 276 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, so really good pick.
Yeah, it could have been, it was good. It could have been a little bit better. I feel like the Falcons lit off a little bit in the second half, or they were like equalized a little bit more because it wasn't necessarily a close game in the first half.
Yeah, true that. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier split the load in this game. Bijan 13 carries for 63, Tyler Algier 12 for 33. Darnell Mooney 4 catches for 86 yards, and Bijan 7 for 43 caught the other 2 touchdowns in this game. Kyle Pitts almost pulled a Deshaun Jackson on his second touchdown. So Kyle Pitts had 4 catches for 91 yards and the other 2 touchdowns. So you saw it, right? He had the ball out like this.
He almost let it go. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was that close, and I was like, I almost got PTSD from it because Deshaun Jackson. I saw it happen with the Eagles. Yeah. I was like, oh boy.
I will never understand the dropping of the ball at all when you're going to score a touchdown. I will never understand why players want to let go of the ball so fast when they're running into the end zone. It seems counterintuitive to like everything you've been taught as an NFL player. Keep the ball, toss it to the ref. That's what your coaches teach you growing up. Just do that. Stop making it hard on people and your fans.
Yeah, just don't get cute with it. Don't even risk it, honestly. So Baker in this game, 37 for 50, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in the comeback attempt. Bucs run game completely ineffective in this game, but Rachaad White caught a touchdown pass. Also lost a fumble in this game, so yeah, just bad. Cade Otton, National Tight End Day, 9 catches, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So yeah.
That's wild, dude.
I know. Yeah, so Cade Otton's looking like a real weapon in this offense now with the lack of wide receivers at the moment.
Yeah, he really is. And this game is like a big chunk of that the National Tight End Day, like almost 200 yards and 4 touchdowns between 2 tight ends in this game. It
kind of
a renaissance.
Kind of kicked it off, honestly, I felt like.
Yeah, it was a renaissance for old Kyle Pitts, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like his first 2 touchdown game. Definitely his best game of his career so far.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope this is a thing going forward because I really do think he is that player.
The Falcons are going to have a absolute squad if Kyle Pitts can put his shit together and keep a good season going, dude. They have more weapons than anybody in the NFL almost.
Yeah, honestly.
On offense. Yeah.
And then the Buccaneers secondary, obviously a huge worry going forward, right? And something to monitor for fantasy matchups.
That Bucs defense in general has been so bad. They're bottom 5 in the league in almost every single category against the run, against the pass, on third down, in the red zone. Like, just points allowed, everything. It's like they're having a rough go. So yeah, it's definitely something to monitor if you have players playing the Bucs. It's not as scary as it used to be.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But yeah, other than that, great win for the Falcons. Very important match in the NFC South. I think the win puts them in first place now, right?
Yeah, I think they might have been in.
Okay, yeah,
close to first place, but yeah, the Falcons are pretty much holding it down over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a game ahead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they're 4-0 in their division right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Moving on. Lions 52, Titans 14. The slaughter. Jared Goff only 85 passing yards, but he had 3 passing touchdowns. Both running backs score again. Jahmyr Gibbs 11 for 127 yards. Monty 9 for 33. Monty also threw a passing touchdown. Yeah, at that point in the game when Monty threw that passing touchdown, I was like, okay, the Lions are just messing around now. They got full control of this.
Yeah, this game was 14-14 at one point.
Yeah, I know.
Can you believe that shit? And then you got, how embarrassing is it to let your opponent score 52 points and the quarterback only throws for 85 yards, dude? They almost scored as many points as they had passing yards. What kind of fucking shit is that, dude? The Lions are absolutely having the most fun of any team right now across the board. They're toying with people. They're doing gimmick shit. They're like, Dan Campbell has proven to probably be the most likable and best coach in the NFL.
They might just be the best team overall, honestly.
I think they are, dude. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they let the Titans just score 14 points and they were like, all right, let's just not let them score anymore.
No, and also we're going to score 40 points.
Yeah, just absolutely wild. Yeah, so Sam Laporta also got in on the action for National Tight End Day, 6 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown.
He's the one that caught the Monty touchdown.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was. Yeah, so just very, very funny week, honestly. It was a very fun game, though, honestly. Like, normally I don't like watching blowouts, but it's Lions football is just fun football, no matter what.
Said only one person ever since 1993. Lions football's fun football.
Right. Mason Rudolph in relief of Will Levis, 22 for 38, 266 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Actually started off the game looking really good and then just quickly fell down to earth.
That'll happen, dude.
Yeah. Still looks better than Will Levis, so I will say. Not that it's very hard.
I stepped in dog shit earlier that looked better than Will Levis.
Oh, shit. Tony Pollard actually has a solid game after being on all three of our stinkers list. He went 94 yards, 3 catches for 23 yards. So yeah, about double-digit game. Not bad. Is Calvin Ridley back? He went 10 catches for 143 yards. Ridley had 6 of those catches for 118 yards in the first quarter alone. Yeah, so he was popping off and then just stopped.
Well, yeah, I feel like he's the reason for the Titans' success at all then in the first half. And no, I don't think he's back at all because the Lions just basically showed like, okay, you had your fun. It's over now. It's over now.
Yeah, but they're not always gonna play the Lions though either.
I can't take. It's a good stat line. Don't get me wrong. And yes, pick him up in fantasy, but don't be surprised if he has a 6-point game next week.
Yeah, I'd say pick him up, but don't start him. Yeah, just monitor it. And then I guess Brian put this in here. Yeah, so Nick Westbrook-Akine, who had the lone touchdown catch in the game. This is a weird stat line for the season. For the year, 4 catches, 24 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That just looks like to me like he's probably the most efficient red zone wide receiver in the NFL. He's like what's the Chargers' old tight end, the dude that was just like
Parham.
Yeah, Donald Parham.
Yeah, he's just catching touchdowns.
He just catches touchdowns,
Yeah, so I guess that's Nick Westbrook-Akine. So yeah, other than that, there's really not much else to talk about this game. Lions just completely whooped the shit out of them. They brought Hendon Hooker in at the start of the fourth. Yeah, just this old classic stomp them out, sub the starters in at the fourth, lock it in. Yeah, all right, let's move on here. All right, another upset. I guess it's not even. I guess we said this wasn't even really an upset. Patriots 25, Jets 22. The Jets season is officially over.
You think it's over? You think the Jets season is over? You don't think they could win out and win the division?
No, I do not.
It's very embarrassing that I had them winning 13 games. Do you understand where I'm coming from? I thought they would be so good.
I was right there with you. I had the Jets. I had the Jets winning the division as well.
And it's just they're so definitely not. And if you were to look at their roster right now on paper at the beginning of the year, you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
This is such a good roster, and they just can't seem to muster any offense. And like they're losing in embarrassing fashion now. Like they had a good game offensively.
They did. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is very solid in this game. For the big story, Drake May got injured in this game due to a concussion. Jacoby Brissett came in relief, 15 for 24, 132 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 20 for 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, 17 for 28, 233 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, very solid game. It just did not work out. Breece Hall, 16 for 80. Braylon Allen, 12 for 32 yards, and a touchdown. The Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams connection has not been established yet. 4 for 59. Garrett Wilson takes advantage, 5 for 113, and Tyler Conklin catches the lone touchdown pass. So, are you worried if you have Devontae Adams right now?
Yes, because he's part of the most dysfunctional team in the NFL.
Yeah,
he really is. Like the Jets are the definition of dysfunction. It's like you have all the pieces, but can't figure it out. You can't figure anything out. They've made all the changes that they're going to make, and they still haven't gotten any better. They've gotten worse.
Yeah, I mean, do we have an idea of why maybe it's not working out with Adams to Rodgers, or is it just too soon to say?
I think Aaron Rodgers is a dickhead, dude, and that's what's going on. He probably argues with the offensive coordinator over every play call. He probably blames everything on everybody else. You didn't run the right route. Oh, you should have went a little bit deeper. Like he's that kind of guy. And I think the Jets have probably had their fill of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So what do you think happens at the end of the year?
Another Jets offseason. Like a really bad offseason full of mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know what it is though, because you're right though. On paper, this Jets team should be in contention to at least compete in the NFC East. What?
They will mathematically be eliminated from the playoffs and win all of their games after that. That's what'll happen.
Oh boy, I feel like that would be like something Aaron Rodgers would do on purpose too.
Yeah, and then the Jets will be enamored because they'll win like 5 games to finish the season and like in very impressive fashion. They won't make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers will trick them into letting him play there next year, and then he will just. There's a whole conspiracy theory of why he's playing for the Jets and that he's tanking this season, but I'm not going to talk about it on this episode.
Why not?
Or maybe ever out loud, dude. Okay, I'll talk about it. Okay,
Hold on.
Okay. I'll talk about it. Okay, so Woody Johnson, the Johnson family that owns the Jets, they're the Johnson & Johnson family who actually created and facilitate all of the COVID vaccines that Aaron Rodgers is against, and he wants to ruin their lives. That's what's happening. He's tanking the Jets season because he's anti-vax, and that was the whole plan all along. And you heard it here.
Wow.
Don't put this on social media.
I was like, I gotta clip that, but
no, you can. You can.
Oh God. Honestly, I mean, you came up with that one on your own?
I heard it, but I believe it. I heard it from like a random TikToker though, but credit to whoever that was, but it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I've heard crazier shit, so I guess it's not the worst. All right. Anyways, I know I can't believe I just heard that. I was like, that's crazy, but I respect it. All right. Last game to review here. Cardinals 28, Dolphins 27. Tua's return. All for naught. Kyler Murray, 26 for 36, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Conner, 20 carries for 53 yards, 1 touchdown. Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. pop off this game. McBride, 9 for 124 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., one of my stinkers. 6 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, so the Dolphins, not giving up a lot of yards all year, let up 300 yards this game. They're most of the season, so it was bound to happen, right?
Yeah, law of averages, dude.
Yeah, as he said. Michael Wilson, 5 catches for 31 yards, had the other touchdown from Kyler in this game. Tua in his return, 28 for 38, 234 yards, and 1 touchdown. There was a play where he ran and slid for a first down, and because he slid, he received a standing ovation from the home crowd. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy thing to cheer for, but...
Hey, I was like, this is how you do it. Stop getting hurt.
Yeah, dude, slide.
Yeah, I know. Please. I do not want to see you throw up gang signs again.
No.
Yeah, as we kind of predicted, the Dolphins' ground game kind of had somewhat of a renaissance. Devon Achane only got 10 carries, but he 97 yards, 6 catches for 50 yards, and a touchdown. Raheem Mostert, 9 carries for 19 yards and 2 touchdowns. So clearly the run game obviously benefits when Tua is in the lineup. So glad to see it back. Even the wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, 6 catches for 72 yards, and Jalen Waddle, 4 catches for 45 yards. Probably the most that they've done combined. In all the games that Tua's been gone. Yeah,
dude, it's like a 6 for 72 from Tyreek Hill was like, finally, he scores double digits, considering he barely had anything the weeks before. And I think that maybe going forward, that run game looked really good. The Dolphins offense looked a lot better. So and they lost this game in like a disappointing fashion for the Dolphins too, on a game-winning field goal. It's not like they got blown out.
Yeah, I mean, it was their defense that kind of buckled at the end too. Normally their defense, which has been pretty decent all year, they just finally folded. So
yeah.
Yeah, and also, though, this was a crazy stat, too. The Cardinals have not allowed a sack for the 3rd straight game, so their O-line is on fire right now.
Yeah, and, Kyler Murray's been playing really well, too. He's been getting the ball.
I mean, it also helps when your quarterback is very mobile, too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the Cardinals are first place in the NFC West.
Are they really?
Yeah.
What is happening?
They're 2-0 in their division.
I mean, we were kind of high on we were kind of high on the Cardinals in the offseason anyways, but it's just weird considering everything. Oh wow, you're right.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they have that. They have the tiebreaker. They're 2-0 in the division.
It is a 3-way tie at 4-4 for base record in that and also the Rams. I look for them to probably be in that mix too. The NFC West is the closest division in the NFL right now.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, so if there's nothing else for this game, I mean, good for the Cardinals, good win here. Good signs for the Dolphins moving forward. So if you have any of those players in fantasy, you can breathe a sigh of relief. So
there you go.
Yeah.
We got it.
So that's it for the Week 8 review. Let's jump into the Week 9 Thursday night preview. We got Texans 6-2 at the Jets 2-6. They keep giving us primetime Jets football, and I don't want it anymore.
Everybody thought this would be a good matchup.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, yeah.
It still could be. It still could be a very good matchup.
Actually, it could be because of Brian's reason, what he gave me. We'll get to that. But go ahead.
And Houston's a little bit hobbled. They're going to be missing two of their top receivers, Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, going into this game. It's really the time for Tank Dell to step up, although he'll probably draw a lot of coverage from Sauce Gardner. So I don't see this being an easy path to a win for the Texans. It has trap game written all over it.
Well, keep in mind, CJ Stroud had the worst game of last season against the Jets.
Oh, I know. And it's the defense for the Jets isn't bad this year, So
you are right, though. It is a trap game, though. It's like something is telling me, obviously the Texans are the smart pick, but something is telling me that the Jets could win just because it's fucking Halloween.
Yeah, it is Halloween. It's a spooky time. It's Aaron Rodgers is a spooky guy, and it seems like this could be a little bit of a Halloween magic game. Give me the Jets to win at home.
Oh, okay.
In this game.
You see, I want to go that same route, but at the same time, the Jets are just so untrustworthy. Like, I really feel like they would just leave a bad taste in my mouth if I picked them. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the Texans. I'm going to look for CJ Stroud to just kind of have a correction game, Brian's picking the Texans here, but he had a funny reasoning for this game. He said the most Jets thing of all time would be losing to the Pats and then following it up with a trap game win against the Texans on Halloween, but I'm picking the Texans.
Hey, that's a fair enough reason, It's a fair enough reason.
I mean, I kind of side with Brian on that one too. Like, it would not shock me if the Texans lost this game, but I cannot pick the Jets for the rest of the year unless it's like absolutely like just obvious.
Yeah, I'm just going with my gut on this one. It says that basically I think the Jets are bad record-wise, but I don't think they're a bad team in general. They played a lot of close games, and they're eventually going to put it together, and it very well could be right now, and why not on Halloween, It's like taking candy from a baby.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like taking candy from a baby, but I think they got what it takes to at least pull out a win at home.
Okay. All right. So, me and Brian are on the Texans. Dylan is on the Jets. And that about wraps it up for us. So, follow us on all social medias at Raging Takes. You can send us an email at ragingtakes@gmail.com. You can find Brian at Montana Sauce on Twitter or X. I'm at RTP Kai, and Dylan is at Such a Wise Fool. And we will see you guys next week.